Hey guys, Kevin with MCrider. If you've been following along the last few weeks, you know that I recently purchased a Harley Road King. The goal is to start riding that in some skills competitions. Well, I've been talking to a lot of folks who ride in those types of competitions and got some advice on how to best prep my bike for those competitions. Also announced a couple weeks ago, or asked if you guys were interested in a Ride Like a Cop series that would be included in the MCrider field guide, and I've had a lot of positive feedback from that. So you may find this interesting as we're coming up on winter. I know a lot of you guys are having to park your bikes for the winter, and this will give you something to work on through the winter to best prep your bike for these types of competitions. I'll show you the advice that I was given, the changes that I've made to the motorcycle, and how they affect the handling and the protection of the motorcycle to start riding in some of these skills competitions. Now, before we get into this week's video and we do a walk around of the motorcycle, some of you guys have expressed concern saying that you don't want to ride like a cop. You don't want to do those skills competitions. And I understand that it's not for everybody. And I want to assure you guys that MCrider's goal has not changed, that we're still going to provide weekly training videos that are applicable to every rider. There may just be some in the Ride Like a Cop series that you may not find as relevant as somebody else would. So we're trying to get something here that'll appeal to a broad audience, but rest assured we will continue road strategy and road training exercises to help you guys who are just interested in riding on the road. So let's take a walk around the bike and I'll show you what changes I've made to it to help prep it for skills competitions. So here's the Road King. This is a 2014 model. It had 400 miles on it when I got it. And I'll have to say right off the bat that riding the Road King has been a world of difference over riding the Super Tenere when it comes to skill riding, especially with the Road King in stock form. With the Road King in stock form, I much preferred the Tenere when it came to skills handling or controlled, slow handling on the motorcycle. The Tenere handles really well at slow speeds, and I was probably a lot more used to it than I was the Road King when I first got it. Well, I've made 3 changes in particular to the Road King that have made a huge difference to offer more control and to help me feel more comfortable and in my element on the bike. The first thing, probably the biggest change, was going to the police seat. So I took the stock seat out and added a police seat that I found on eBay. And the police seat sits much higher and closer to the tank. It puts you in a much better position to reach the controls, the handlebars, and in a lot better position to control the motorcycle. So instead of sitting down in the motorcycle in kind of like an easy rider position where your butt's low and your feet are out in front of you, you're much more forward and upright on the motorcycle, and in a much better position to control the bike and to shift your body weight around on the bike as needed. It's also much more comfortable than the stock seat, and those cops know what they're doing by getting this type of seat on a Harley. Like I said, I purchased this off of eBay, and it was about 1/3 of the price of what they are new. I looked at purchasing one new, and it was a whole lot more money than I wanted to spend. So I found this one on eBay. It looks brand new to me. And you can save a lot of money by shopping used on a lot of stuff like this. Also, you'll notice that the handlebars are rotated forward from where they were in the stock position. This allows you much better leverage on the handlebars and requires less force to turn the handlebars at slower speeds. And if you look at the bike from the profile, you can see that the top of the handlebar is now in line with the front fork. And this offers a much better leverage to turn the bars. Also, when making adjustments to the handlebars, you'll also have to rotate the clutch and the front brake levers to get those in the proper positions for your hands. It's usually just 4 bolts on the Road King. It was 4 bolts. Loosen up, turn the clutch or the brake lever along with that control pod that has the turn signals and whatnot in it. You rotate those around on the bars and get those in a good position for the handlebars, and so that you have easy reach to those. And the third thing that provided a lot more control for me was I added a soft brake lever to the rear brake. Now this lowers the brake lever by about 20 degrees. It puts your foot in a much better position to modulate the rear brake. And I was really surprised at how big a difference this made in my ability to control the brake pressure when performing slow speed maneuvers. And that was an advantage that the Tenere really had, was because the position of the pegs relative to the rear brake, it was just kind of easy to lower the front of your foot down and modulate that brake pressure. But the stock lever on the Road King, that brake was up so high that your foot was really contorted, or I felt like it was, to get it up there, and then to control pressure on it was very difficult as well. So the soft brake took care of a lot of that by lowering that brake and putting my foot in a much better position to control the pressure on the rear brake. On the protection side of things, I added these shaft collars to the front and the rear crash bars. And the shaft collars help protect the chrome on the crash bar, but they also give the crash bar a little more clearance to keep paint and other shiny parts off the pavement when the bike gets dropped. Now, I know those crash bars can be expensive, and paint on a Harley is even more expensive. So this is a good investment if you plan on doing these type of competitions and you have crash bars. I'll have a link to where I ordered these shaft collars from, and you just have to measure the size of your crash bars to get the proper ones to fit your bike. I've made a few other changes that have nothing to do with competition riding, like adding a slip-on exhaust from Vance & Hines, going with the K&N air filter, and doing some engine mapping with the Fuel Pack 3. I also had the front windshield cut down on the bike because I hate looking through a windshield when I'm riding down the road. So about the only other thing I'll probably do to this is I'll add a rear seat that I can attach to it when Mrs. MCrider wants to go for a ride with me. But not only have these changes better protected the bike and made the bike better to ride in these skills competitions, they've overall really improved the bike, especially in the riding position. I'm in a much more aggressive position. I'm in a much better position to control the motorcycle, and I'm starting to feel like it belongs to me now, like I should be on it. So if you've got a bike, no matter what you're riding, maybe you can adapt some of these changes to your motorcycle. And I wanted to give you guys time to prepare your bike, because in the early spring of next year, we're going to do that Ride Like a Cop series. And we'll have, 4 or 5, maybe 6 different videos that will be a part of the field guide to help you guys learn some of those skills. And actually, you get to learn some of those with me as I'm improving on them as well. So until next week, guys, this is Kevin with MCrider, and we'll see you on the road. MCrider is supported by our friends on Patreon. To learn how to support MCrider and get access to the field guide, go to mcrider.com/support.